The Minnesota Vikings were a bit banged up last week when we were facing the Cincinnati Bengals, but will we be at full strength this week for the border battle? Let's take a look. The offensive line last week was at 80% health. The only one that we were missing was left tackle Riley Reiff. As of today on the Vikings injury report, he is listed as questionable, but his participation in practice has been going up as the days have gone on. So expect the offensive line to be at full health for the first time in a while. Last week against the Bengals, the Minnesota Vikings were also without free safety Andrew Sendejo. Just like Reiff, he is listed as questionable right now, but his participation in practice has also been going up as these days have gone on. So you should expect Andrew Sendejo to be back up and running on Sunday with Harrison Smith against the Packers. On Tuesday and Wednesday, Pat Elflein and Mike Remmers were both limited in practice, but they have been upgraded as of today on Thursday. They are full participants in practice, so they should also be all good to go. Rookie linebacker Ben Gideon has also had a little trouble with his ankle lately, just like Kyle Rudolph. Kyle Rudolph has been limited in practice this entire week, and Ben Gideon the last 2 days has been a full participant, so the linebacker core should be all set as well. And although Kyle Rudolph is limited this entire week, you should probably expect him to play, considering that he played last week. The only player for the Vikings that has not practiced this week is Tremaine Brock, so I do not really expect him to play because as of today, he still has not practiced. For the Packers, their list of people who haven't practiced actually at all this week include Clay Matthews, Jari Evans, Devontae Adams, and Nick Perry, so those could be some big blows going to their roster. And obviously, the biggest news of the week, Aaron Rodgers was put on IR, so obviously his season is done. So those are the major headliners for both teams' injury reports for the border battle coming up on Saturday. And a lot of these injuries are actually really crucial for this game. If neither Nick Perry or Clay Matthews plays, that's two of Green Bay's starting linebackers that are going down. With that being the case, I could see a lot of Adam Thielen slants on third down when needed, because that tends to be the situation. You get a linebacker on him, and there's no linebacker in this league that'll cover Adam Thielen. Also doesn't help Green Bay considering how bad their defense is already. You're losing two starters. That's going to hit you hard. Also, if Devontae Adams doesn't play, then that's just one less weapon that Brett Hundley has to throw to, which will be pretty important if the Vikings defense does get all the way up to full strength with how the injury report is looking right now. Because when you're a guy like Brent Hundley and you're facing a top 3 defense like the Vikings is, you're going to need all the weapons you can get to throw to, especially when your running backs will probably get stuffed as well. And that's not a shot at all at Green Bay's running backs, because I know that they've been having a lot of issues with like injuries and just like trying to find the right guy this season. And they have found a few diamonds in the rough from the rookie class that'll actually end up probably being pretty good. What I meant was the Vikings' run defense is absolutely insane. They've been shutting everybody down lately, except for the Panthers. But we don't talk about that. But otherwise, I mean, it's just too hard to run on them. Going back to the other side of the ball for the Vikings, if that offensive line does get up to full strength like the injury report is indicating, then that's going to be a massive help for Minnesota. That newly revamped offensive line from this year has been the #1 reason why we have been so successful being able to run the ball, which in turn has helped Case Keenum throw the ball much, much better. He's been getting so much more time. Play action has been working so much better, because we've been opening holes for Latavius Murray to run through, and then they don't know what to do with Jerick McKinnon because he's a scat back. He can run, he can catch, and it just messes teams up. So if that offensive line is at full strength, then it's really, really beneficial for the Vikings. So yeah, if the injury report is kind of going in the right way or shedding some light on what's going to happen on Saturday, then I think things should be totally fine for the Vikings. That healthy offensive line will be great. Obviously, we already know about the defense. There's no reason to worry about them, even if they are missing a piece or two, which it doesn't look like they will. And then, unfortunately for the Packers, it looks like they're going to be taking a couple hits, unless things change in the next day or two, because there is only 2 days until the game. But otherwise, things are not looking too hot for them. But even with all that said, sometimes it doesn't really even matter who's injured and who isn't injured in games like this, because as everybody knows, divisional games, no matter how good each team is or how bad one team is, etc., they always find a way to end up being close. Even if you're playing Brett Hundley instead of Aaron Rodgers, there's always that chance that, things could get out of hand and the defense could, have a hiccup and, the Packers get back in the game or they take a lead or something. You just never know. I mean, case in point, did you see the Eagles play the Giants last week? I think we all did. So that wraps up the injury report and it's kind of its evaluation and the implications it has for the game for the Vikings versus the Packers. I hope you guys all enjoyed. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one.